Divination is about precisely foretelling one's written destiny. Over-embellishing that fate only leads to misconception.
And that over-embellishment is exactly what has happened to this poor astrologist. Mona Megistus isn't as good as you think she is, and yet everyone has seemingly rewritten her destiny into something she is wholly not. So today, allow me to give you the divination of Mona and the 3 reasons why she is overrated. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening YouTube, it's your astrologist king Dajima Man, and welcome to another video. Before we begin, let me preface everything by saying this is all in the context of playing Mona as a support and not a vape carry or EC enabler.
This is how it must be.
This is probably the weakest reason she is overrated, but let me quickly explain my points anyway. Her dash is an alternative dash where she dives deep into the watery surfaces of the ground. This fundamentally changes how she dashes compared to other characters, and as such can be jarring as you play her and you switch to normal dashing characters, then back to her. Her dash also has different iframes from a regular dash, and thus it takes time to get used to as compared to other units, and you will find yourself getting hit more often than not. There's also this fleeting, awkward sensation if you choose to dash before switching characters. It's sort of like a phantom delay that feels like it takes longer to switch out after a dash, even if it doesn't really. And that can make her feel very clunky, especially if you're just getting used to it. These things, while it can be grown accustomed to, add a layer of frustration that you can't deny when you play her. It can be a minor inconvenience to some that they just become used to over time, and for some it can be so annoying that they will never touch this character again. And when people rate Mona a little too highly, it's as if they are ignoring this factor altogether. But it does play a role nonetheless. Her dash is part of her kit, and as such, it should always be mentioned, not just for the players that can get used to it, but for the players that simply can't or don't want to get used to her dash as well.
It is as the stars foretold.
One of the greatest problems of Mona is that her burst cost is high and her energy generation is garbage. Mona requires a lot of investment to reach peak levels of support. Mona as a support thrives in situations where she can burst off cooldown every rotation, and a popular weapon to pair with her is Favonius Codex. However, running a Fav Codex will severely diminish her buffing capability, and at that point, it would simply be better to run a Kokomi with TTDS or a Sincho over Mona. Mona, to fulfill her destiny, requires TTDS and a copious amount of ER to be the best in slot in most teams, and the ER needed is somewhere around 230-250%. But the more ER, the freaking better. The ER threshold is so hard to reach with TTDS that most players will have to run Fab Codex instead. The reason for this is that in most support Mona teams, she is a lone Hydro, and as such, her ER requirements get staggeringly high. Sure, you can pair her with Venti or Riding to mitigate the energy required, but it says a lot when you need 2 limited 5 stars in order to make Mona work if you don't have the requisite stats in your artifacts.
This is destiny.
Mona's off-field Hydro application is probably the most overrated aspect of her entire kit, and here is why. First, let's explain what her main source of off-field Hydro application is, and that is her skill, the Mirror Reflection of Doom. It essentially pops down a taunt that applies 4 ticks of Hydro and AoE around it for 4 seconds. Her Hydro application is garbage, and it is what makes her truly overrated. If Kokomi was underrated and people truly realized her strength because she was Hydro, then the exact opposite can be said about Mona. Everyone overvalued her off-field Hydro application simply because there are no other options, and her burst is seemingly such an enticing buff that at certain points of investment, it is capable of big PP damage that they saw her for more than what she actually was. The reality is, she is bad at applying Hydro off-field. You only have 4 seconds of Hydro uptime and a long 12-second cooldown, effectively making it 8 seconds downtime for Hydro application. If you want to use Mona in a freeze comp outside of Ayaka freeze or without Venti, then you might as well just use Barbara. Mona excels in teams where they don't require a lot of Hydro application to begin with, or have a unit like Venti that can spread Hydro longer when infused in his burst. She is rarely the best option, and even in cases that she is the best in slot, you use her because of her Omen, not her Hydro application. And because of those things, Mona easily becomes one of the most easily replaced units in the teams she is currently played with. Look, I say all of this, but Mona in totality is fun to play if you can get over her flaws. She is by no means a bad unit, it's just that she is put on such a high pedestal as if she is as good or as irreplaceable as other units in her team, like Ayaka, Venti, or Ganyu. But the reality is she can't function well without those units I just mentioned, and she only truly has one team going for her, and that's Morgana. One can say her vape teams are good, but that requires almost way levels of investment to be truly exceptional. One could say her EC teams, where she is the driver, is good, but Kokomi or Sucrose outperforms her in every single way. Her Omen buff, while good, lasts a very short duration and isn't even as good as Kazuha's or Bennett's buff. I bring up those units because when people talk about Mona, it's as if she is included as one of the best buffers in the game. But the reality is, she is only really good because of her ability to carry TTDS. The Omen buff has a very niche scenario where it is actually truly good. And most of the time, most units can take full advantage of it because of its short uptime. Don't get me wrong, all the reasons I stated in this video except for her Hydro application can be worked around. You can get used to the clunkiness of her dash, you can work around her ER woes, especially because she has an ER Ascension stat. But the overall perception of support Mona is overrated. In the teams she is good in, it is easy to replace her. Just look at Ayaka Freeze for example. A variation with Kokomi Rosaria had already been popularized. In Morgana, Mona can be replaced in favor of running Kokomi with Ganyu, Venti, and Ayaka. Those aren't mere coincidences. That's a trend that once better Hydro units come out, Mona is the first to go. Is Mona truly overrated? Tell me down in the comments below or better yet command me at twitch.tv/DejimaMan where I stream Genshin almost every day. Join the Slime Kingdom Discord where I feed you slime condensate every day. And this is our parting. Farewell.